for baby, I will tune in from Biano. I I say hello to you and I welcome you this evening on A Time with Tap Tap Send. Thank you all so much. Your friend OBAA ADJEIWAA, and we have a wonderful topic for you to discuss this evening. The topic today is how to deal with difficult partner. Yes, how to deal with difficult or how to handle difficult partner. Yeah, but obi mind so there's so many things that's happening on social media. You kura na yera ho. Akwentu emanipa esesa. Akwentu manipa sesa indeed. Awari be brave go. I don't know. Say about obi mind so na nema sesa na se brana sesa, and people are taking advantage of it and basically, really taking advantage of the situation. But ene yebedi ho enkomo. So if you are tuning in from UK, Canada, US, we welcome you. We welcome you. Thank you all so much. Without further ado, I think I will have our sponsor, Tap Tap Send. If Dani or A-Class is here this evening, please kindly unmute. Introduce yourselves. Let's welcome our listeners who have tuned in this evening. PK, I said PK. Yeah. A-Class, of course, I'm missing PK this evening. A-Class and, of course, Director Dani, if you are here, please unmute and say welcome to everyone on the line. Yene, our own Dr. Dr. ANDOR, Dr. Josiah ANDOR. He's going to be joining us soon, all the way from Ghana. It's about 10 p.m. in Ghana now. Na Dr. Josiah But again, if Director A-Class or Dani, if you are here, if you are available, please kindly unmute and let's welcome our guest onto the show this evening. Someone just a little quick announcement. No, said this program is being sponsored by Tap Tap Send, the #1 mobile money transfer app that you can, the best in the whole universe, I have to say. And I'm not just saying it because I'm sitting here, but we do have a great team of people here on Tap Tap Send. So if you are here for the first time, I want to say welcome to the family. And when we are done with the show, please just stay on the line so that we can definitely direct the conversation to Tap Tap Send conversations only. Again, let's welcome Director Daniel to the show. Director, if you are here, I want to welcome you on mute and say hello to our viewers.
Thank you, Oba. Thank you. Once again, we are live on Time with Tap Tap US version on HRE TV. Thank you everybody for being here. Tap Tap with the someone modofo sika money app no. So I mean, we always want to do something to please our customers, and that's why you say Sebi Nyansa it's not easy to acquire, right? Inti Yebahanum just to share ideas, information, and educate ourselves. So we are always into this, and we are happy to sponsor and be part of the program. So your customers in Yabina advantage over it. About this week, I mean, I wouldn't take much of our time. I think say Josiah Abba, because I saw
yes, but Ansano Beba Crown Director, we made 2 questions now. Yeah. What do you think? How do we handle difficult partners?
Hey, awesome. Dr. PK Munanka question we had no Dr. PK or Mr. Robert can be mommy. Would it be no mommy? I mean, I can like Mitmash idea say a writer, because I wouldn't know what it actually means to have a difficult partner, but I think say macho mami nu enko, because mo yesa mo besa asase no. Me personal view di enka meka say difficult partner back or how say back no so you understanding partner na mo cohesion bi be adwuma. Nti I don't know, but like posts attract repels, right? And unlike posts attract. Yes, anete.
Eh,
And if you are negative, if you are way negative, way positive, it will ignite power, right?
sir.
I feel say will be a difficult partner. You try to understand the person and then you move on. One needs to calm down, one needs to. I mean, the imagine chem kitwe bi na maka you.
Okay. Well, tier 4, we do have the question of the day, director. The question of the day, rather, is what I want to ask you. The question of the day is, if your love story was Ghanaian or an African dish, what would it be? Jollof, spicy jollof, but fufu. What would it be if your love story was a Ghanaian or African dish?
Banku and tilapia, banku ni shito. Come on. That I don't quite admit to me, I'm very confident with it. Banku and krumani, banku ni shito ni tilapia. Me pair off.
Yeah, what do?
Me pair off. All day, I will choose that.
Wow. All right. Wonderful. Well, we thank you so much. Any updates? Any questions? I guess we'll discuss it, but give us some updates for Tap Send as well.
Quick one. I mean, I wouldn't take much of our time. Me assemble ball so fast. Say tap. We are opening up, right? Inti, yeah, the more countries are coming. Said the I'll be Timmy, ascend across South Africa, Brazil, Nina, Kikenka. Now across diaspora, you can send money to the UK, and from UK to the US and other parts. So yeah, beam. Because we listen to our customers, right? So for Kenya, Discover card. Now we are using the Discover card right now. Until BBR or Discover card, and you can still come back to the app and use it. Into BBR demo live. Into more starting user. So we spoke about the wallet too. Thankfully enough, I'm hoping that by the close of June, everybody in the US might have it until you have the access to activate it. I'm saying, nipa kakra bi a yɛde ɔmo yɛ guinea pig no they've had a fair idea how the wallet works. And this time you are not only going to get the US wallet, we are working on the Ghana wallet too, which will also be open very soon. Me Bank of Ghana account was 70 BBR demo clean. We will start the piloting in the UK as usual, then come to us. So far, no, every week we keep on updating. App on so we give also notification and stuff. More update app on more activity. I just say the next thing, yes, mo for busuafo no bebre mra. Joining hands, because if this is the place you see Oba and say Oba. This is the place you see PK and say PK. Mr. Asenso, Dr. Asenso. Yeah, I mean, we join hands on the show and we share ideas. I mean, on this show, your uncle for our it will surprise you. Inti, do mandia now about become more stress and so kakra. Thank you, Oba. Inti.
Thank you so much. Mr. Wallet, now I want you to expand on it. Kakra, don't understand fully what the wallet means, especially what's in Ghana. You guys are going to be introducing the wallet system, not just in the UK or abroad, but in US, but also in Ghana as well. Can you explain a little bit?
Okay, so wallets, is just like Ghana or Momo. I mean, people who has been doing remittances who using the wise understand what the wallet is actually. To say ebia ubie accounts or phone so you see the US wallet, that is ubetimi the sika, instead of say udi sika no beto or bank ube use bank card the you can actually recharge your wallet and put in money into anytime be our person sending. You don't even have to attach any card, right? So see Canada or US that your dollar account and so wallet and so into person send there, you only select it and then you send. And now say in your CD wallet no obetim the sika no ato honom ti. For instance, ebia ene rate in 14 Ghana cedis per $1. You can ubetima say sika no nti ebia sika ne te ba fam ebia 13 you still have it 14 there, so you can just send it to anybody. And as you said, it will be any on tap you don't pay fees. Into the scan it here, no, sana or the best send so you can actually save on that. And one thing I forgot, I think we are also getting the tap card, which is crazy, you know, and also your virtual one and then the physical card where ubetimedia tardy. To call shopping, groceries, everything. You can use the tap card to purchase stuff, and then like we use card and that is also a great thing that is coming. But then the US will have it when they all have the wallet before you can get the card. And
no, nice, very nice. Wow, Director. Before I let you go,
yeah,
between spicy jollof and fufu, if you were to choose one of those, instead of banku, I know you said banku and okro and shito and whatever, but between spicy jollof and fufu, which one would it be?
Okay, so as usual,
fufu is sticks, you know, fufu is sticky, but you know, it sticks together, but so. Fufu takes work, but you know, it sticks together. You know what I mean?
Okay, so me growing up, I never thought fufu was being sold outside. Fufu should be a household thing, like something that your mom prepares or some. I mean, I'm not. It's very hard for me to go outside and buy fufu to eat. Oh, me problem. Okay, me a jollof person, right? But me a rice and stew person. But jollof no, some when it's spicy, I mean, also bankuni could be wohonom. It's spicy, maybe a pepper. But then if I can get the spicy in the fufu, between Makwaka, Hona, my wife, and the baby fufu, nidia fufu all day. But I can't even eat outside. I would rather prefer eating in indoors.
Wonderful. That's our director, Danny. Thank you so much, director, for the update.
You're welcome.
If Director A-Class is here, I would love to get his input. If your love story was a Ghanaian African dish, what would it be? Jollof, spicy, but worth it.
The director A-Class a coca baby kakrana.
Okay. Yo, Etiefo will put the question in the.
I wish Tapike can answer some because now we have status.
No, I was just saying.
Mean to me, come on, no, I heard Marco called Dr. Fordy for Muniago.
All right.
Let's hear you.
Yeah, that's the P director. Thank you so much for the wonderful update. Etiefo, if you are here once again, welcome to HRE TV, sponsored by Tap Send, a time with Tap Send. Again, the question that we are projecting to you this evening is, if your love story was a Ghanaian African dish, what would it be? Jollof is spicy, but is it worth it? But it is worth it, you know, and fufu, it takes, you know, work to combine the fufu, all the ingredients and quine, wow, fufu, no, but it sticks together. Which would it be? What would your love story be? Please respond in the chat room and let's get the conversations going. Again, I'd like to welcome you all once again with HRE TV, a time with Tap Send. Tap Send being our sponsor, of course. Yeah, from it. OBAA, ADJEIWAA. I'd like to welcome you all. Today, we are talking about how to handle difficult partners when it comes to relationship. So while we chat with Nina with social media, sometimes you see so many things that are so disheartening to us as Africans. Na oyere okunu kasakasa bebre, they don't even go into the marriage. Na our relationship time. But without further ado, let's welcome our marriage counselor, the one and only Dr. JOSIAH ANDOR, to the program today. Onona, all the way from Ghana. So Dr. Josiah, it's been such a long time. I want to welcome you to the platform. I miss you. I miss you. I miss
Thank
you.
you. I miss you too. We need to catch up sometime.
We need to catch up big time. And then the topic, we are talking about how to handle a difficult partner. Now, this question of the day. Question of the day is that if your love story was a Ghanaian dish, a Ghanaian African dish, whether jollof, spicy jollof, or fufu, it's hard, but it definitely comes together. What would your love story be, Dr. Josiah?
I think okay, so my favorite is fufu. So my love story would definitely be fufu. And I think it is going to be same for a lot of people, because the truth is that love is hard work.
Yes.
It is hard work. But if you do it well, you will enjoy it. And that's fufu for you.
Now, when we say difficult partners, right? What behaviors are we actually talking about when we say, difficult partner? What defines a difficult partner in a normal relationship?
Yeah, so in a normal relationship, a difficult partner is one that I don't understand. I mean, that is the simple definition I would give. In other words, once I don't understand the person, then he's difficult or she's difficult. So the person may be doing something that may be very okay, may be very normal, but I don't understand it. Therefore, the person is difficult. But usually, when we hear difficult partner, we start thinking of Obia Nasamwa. The person is a litigant. It's like the person doesn't allow issues to just fly off easily. The person wants to go to the very depth of issues. And so you hear people say, oh, this guy is so difficult to be with, because every little thing he's making it so huge. And a difficult partner is also somebody who has principles that we are unable to relate with. So the person has principles. The person thinks that when you enter a room, this particular thing should be here in the room. And if you don't put it there, then he becomes angry because you are not going according to his or her principles. That is a difficult partner. So in other words, somebody who acts or feels or thinks differently from what we think is the average person is a difficult person. Somebody whose actions or whose way of thinking, way of doing things is different from the average person becomes a difficult person. So that is why I said it is somebody that I do not understand. So if I do not understand him, then he's difficult. But if I understand him, he's not difficult at all.
So then are we saying not being able to define, or like are we saying difficulty is based on your understanding of your partner?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. You know, I tell a story of a man and his wife. They are married, and this guy gets angry every time their wife. In fact, the guy's favorite food is fufu. But every time the wife cooks the fufu as a surprise, he comes home and he's irritated, he's angry. Yes. Once I will say So yeah. So in other words, the guy is actually difficult. In fact, that is your favorite. Every time you are asked what your favorite food is, it is fufu. But when you come home and it is fufu that is cooking, you get angry. Why?
Why?
Good. So the wife says that no. Alex is difficult. He's so difficult to be with. I just can't be with him. And so these two people come for counseling. And it is simply because the main reason for the counseling is that he's too difficult. And then in the counseling, it came out that everything is coming from his childhood. When he was growing up, one thing that he struggled with was that the mother had a way of controlling everything that he does, dictating to him what he should wear, not only him, but he and his siblings and all that. And so it even included what he should eat. He never had a choice on what he should eat. Now, he's grown, he's a married man, and he feels that he should have a say in the food that he's given. Nobody should control him.
Okay.
And this is a wife who is, without my permission, without consulting with me, you just prepare fufu. You are trying to control me. And it automatically triggers feelings of anger in him.
So
now, is it difficult?
I mean, in that sense, you would think that someone who is mature of age would be able to express himself. So do you think that sometimes people are unaware of the underlying cause for their reaction to things?
Exactly the point. Most of the time, the person himself does not understand.
Okay.
The partner does not also understand. And so it becomes difficult. So, I mean, in this particular case, it came out after seeing a counselor, and the counselor knowing these theories of did psychoanalysis, and was able to come out with the fact that there was deep-seated anxiety hidden in him. And so every time somebody is trying to control his choices, he gets angry.
Okay.
He gets frustrated, and he will react.
That makes sense. Okay. So how can someone tell the difference between like a difficult partner and, yeah, he's difficult, but he's not really difficult. It's just a you know what I mean?
Okay. So at the end of the day, what I will be saying is that there is no difficult person.
There's no difficult person.
It is rather somebody that we do not understand. All right. So that's how come I started the definition by saying a difficult person is somebody that I do not understand. But so you can see a man in your church who you see to be so difficult, and then the wife will tell you, "Oh, name Mr. Manu ntia." Mr. Manu is not difficult. If you understand him, you realize that he's not difficult, because I have lived with him for X number of years, and I am okay. So it is not like the person is difficult. What we need to know is that when somebody behaves differently, or when somebody thinks or feels differently, remember I've been mentioning these three words: acts, feels, or thinks differently from the average person. When people do these things differently, such that we do not understand, we should note that there is a root cause. So that's what we should keep in mind. There is always a root cause. Maybe I should quickly talk about some root causes. One of them is what I mentioned in the story: childhood experiences. So whatever we go through while children actually have an effect on us when we become old. So I will be sharing a lot of examples in this discussion. I counseled in a case, of course, I can't give details because my counseling is confidential, but I can talk about the general issues. I counseled a case where this person is actually always not happy when the wife is progressing. And in this case, it was about education. The moment the wife graduated from the university, had a degree, he already had a degree. And then the wife started thinking about going for a master's. the man started becoming, in quotes, difficult. And so when the issue came up, I tried to probe a bit deeper. And then I realized that, see, it's not like he doesn't want you to progress, no. He simply doesn't want you to go beyond him.
Hey.
The question is why?
Why?
Now, this man, while growing up, he had a group of siblings, and they were, every time at the end of the term, their father will say, everybody bring your results. And then they'll bring their results. Oh, Kobe, or someone who you are doing so well. Kojo, you are doing so well. But as for Asumesi, he's not doing well. And so every time he was struggling with this element of he is always not getting the applause. He's always, behind. He's not the one who is being praised and all that. Now he's a grown-up man. Now he's married. Now he has somebody that he can say, I am more than, and that's the wife. I am older than her. I am more advanced in terms of education than her. I have more money than her. Therefore, I have to be I have to be in that competitive position. For that reason, he begins to act weird when the woman is progressing. Is he difficult? Yes, he's difficult because his behavior is not normal. I mean, it's something that we don't expect from a normal person. But it is happening. Why is it happening? There is a childhood trauma that he is still struggling with. Some, it is about the whatever emotional or psychological or even physical abuse that they suffered during their childhood would actually make them to behave in a particular way. Wow. In their marriage or in their relationship. So we say that this person is difficult, but it is because there's a reason for that. I don't know if this is clear. Another one is parental influences. Now, whatever our children see us doing, they end up exhibiting them. So imagine that you had a parent who was exhibiting dysfunctional behaviors. At the end of the day, you are likely to exhibit such behaviors. So if your father used to treat your mother in a particular way, that is what you are likely to treat your woman. Or if your mother used to treat your father in a particular way, that is how you are likely to treat your man. So children actually pick up certain things from their parents. And that is why they say if you want to know how your wife will be like, go and look at your mother-in-law. Most of the time it's the same, it's similar. I mean, most of those of us who cook, our food tastes something similar to that of our parents. It is because we learned similar recipes and all that. And then another one is not from childhood, but from past relationships. How my former boyfriend, how my former girlfriend was treating me, how they were handling me. That can make me to behave in a particular way. Now, because of that relationship, maybe I was traumatized in my past relationship. Maybe I went through some unhealthy patterns. Maybe, I mean, in my relationship, every time my boyfriend or every time my girlfriend is not talking to me for a period, maybe the phone goes off for a period, it ended up that the person was cheating on me. And now I am with you and I am seeing that kind of pattern. It will trigger the emotions of that relationship. And, I'll definitely react in a particular way. For some, it has to even do with how the very actions in the relationship were. I have met an instance where somebody becomes irritable when the man uses a particular perfume. A particular perfume. And so you realize that what exactly is happening? It is only when this perfume is used that I become irritable, I become I mean, I begin to behave like a witch, but I'm not a witch. And I myself, I don't even understand it. Now, after analyzing the case, this lady was sexually abused by a man many years ago, and that man had that perfume. It is registered somewhere in the mind. And so every time that comes, it comes with that kind of, anger and irritation and all that. There are instances where people would experience physical pain, like the moment she is aroused sexually, she begins to feel pain.
Mm.
And then the analysis showed that her very first sexual experience was with a man who didn't take his time. He had a big manhood, didn't take his time, and indeed, it was painful. Mm-hmm. And so the mind automatically associated pain with the act. And so even now that she's willing to do it, the moment she feels like it, there is pain. She may get wet and all, but she will physically experience pain. And you will be with this woman, you think that she's too difficult in sex, she's always complaining. There is something that happened in the past. And then another one that I must mention is mental health issue. When people begin to behave difficult, as difficult people, sometimes it is undiagnosed. Most of the time, mental health issues are undiagnosed. For example, the person has anxiety disorder. And so the person will begin expressing anxiety. And the things that they are anxious about, you are like, now what is this that you are anxious about? Some people have chronic stress disorder. Some people have elements of depressive disorders. Some personality disorders like bipolar, that one most of the time is diagnosed. But there is obsessive compulsive disorder. Everything has to be in order. We have to be neat. And in Chi, we say the person is ahia. But it is not just ahia, it's a mental health issue. So these mental health conditions will make somebody to start behaving in a bizarre manner. The person would be so weird, nobody understands him, including the partner. So the person, at the end of the day, we tag this person as being a difficult person. And then we have cultural and social influences, where the person comes from. So if certain things are not within your cultural understanding, you are like, oh, why is this person behaving this way? I mean, this is normal. I think the last time, I don't remember what we were discussing, I told the story of the man who wanted to leave the wife because of because she wasn't serving him with the fish head, and he wanted the fish head. And he was so angry about it. He's the head of the family. He needs to eat the fish head. But in the woman's social background, the fish head is not something that should be given to the man of the house because it doesn't show respect. But the man thinks that is what shows respect. So when we have these differences, especially those of you who are outside Ghana, outside Africa, most of you listening to me are probably Ghanaians. Or other parts of Africa, but you are in Canada, you are in the US, you are with people whose cultural orientation is different. If you don't take care, you may think that this person you are with, based on the person's cultural orientation, this person is difficult. But in actual fact, the person may not be difficult. It is rather the person's cultural or societal influence that made him or her what they are. And then finally, let me talk about personal insecurities. Sometimes it is just personal. The person has some deep-seated insecurities, and it brings about some unusual behavior. So things that should not get him or her angry because of maybe the person's physical stature, she's not sure of herself and all that. So something that should not get her angry, she is all angry and lashing it out at you, and you're like, oh, this girl is too difficult. But it is simply because of some deep-seated insecurities that the person may have. So these are some of the root causes of we finding people difficult. And if we understand these root causes, I think that we are likely to better relate with our partners. I'm sorry that I talked for so long.
No, that was perfect. That is perfect because yeah, say yeah, Africans, you know, sometimes we never grew up say obi what trauma be. We didn't know anything about trauma, and we didn't even know say that would affect your relationship with others, let alone your partners in life. And moreover, also no treatment. And then who said treatment be counselor who catch African ni bema say oncotherapy. Why we need to Dr. Josiah, be honest. Oh yeah, bema. Be honest. What would the response be? So these are all new things that we are kind of seeing now in this era. And you know, and it's making us recognize because my main sometimes issue, they say, how does one de-escalate when that trauma, when that partner of theirs is triggered? Say many obi woho. Na say bia me who say yes, so it's difficult. Meaning what the cause is. But how can I de-escalate the whole situation? Yes, I can decide, say, I won't argue back, but there has to be something I can also do to kind of help.
Okay, I would offer 3 suggestions. 3. And these suggestions have to do with our perception, how we should deal with it. The first one is more or less just coming out from the things that I have said. Keep in mind that there is a root. The moment you have a difficult partner, number 1, keep in mind that there is a root. There is nothing that happens without a reason. There is a root. Keep that in mind. Now, when you keep that in mind, what really happens, what it helps you to do is that you are likely to start making up excuses for the person. And that one will help you not to react in a way that shows that you are not empathetic. So there is a root. But what could it be? That's what you do not know. But there is a root. Keep that in your head. That, oh, this person is behaving weird. Could it be that the person has a difficult childhood? Or could it be that the person is having some beliefs? You know, when I was talking about the social, cultural, another one that I think I probably didn't mention is religious background. The person has a certain religious, so make an excuse for the person. Now, when you make an excuse for the person, you are doing so because you are beginning by assuming that there is a root. What is that root? Make an excuse. When you make the excuse, you will start looking for that particular reason or whatever it may be. You start checking to see if that is the case. And it can help you to understand the person. Because once you discover the case, once you discover that, oh, this person has a mental health condition, you will perfectly understand the way the person behaves, and the person will no longer be difficult. Number 2, assume that I may be wrong. Now, that is one thing that we fail to do. Once the person is behaving weirdly, then the person is wrong, I am right. But who told you that yours is the right thing? Who told you that you are not rather the difficult person? So the second assumption you should have in a relationship when you feel your partner is being difficult is to assume that I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe he is right. And by this, I normally would use the 6 and 9 example. Because seriously, from where you stand, the thing is a 6. And you are right. But have you paused to think that on the other side, it is a 9, and the person is seeing it as a 9, so the person is also right. So long as we are looking at it from the other person's perspective, you are wrong. So I may be wrong. No matter what it is, I may be wrong. And when you have that assumption in your head, what it helps you to do is that you begin re-looking at the person's actions, re-looking at the person's thoughts and behavior and all that. You re-look, and you also re-look at yours. It makes it better, and you are able to handle the situation from the point of acceptance of whoever the person is or whatever may be going on with the person. And then the third assumption you should make is that my partner, this other person, does not mean any harm. The person does not mean harm. You know, most of the time, when the other person is, in quotes, difficult, we think that the person knows what he is doing and he just wants to be difficult, or he or she just wants to worry me. But how do you know that the person really knows? So maybe the person doesn't. Maybe so long as the person is concerned, he's doing all his best. So you make that assumption. All right. So 3 assumptions. Assumption number 1 is that there is a root. There is a root. There is something that is causing this. And I would try to know what it is. Assumption number 2, I may be wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe the other person is right. And assumption number 3, he or she means no harm. He means no harm. She means no harm. When we begin from that perspective, even without taking the person to therapy, like you said, most of the time when you try to take your, even though I will encourage that, it is very helpful, to talk to a professional. Even if we don't do it, once we make these assumptions, we are able to actually deal with the person, at least on that level.
Because sometimes I worry pure jealousy, and it's on the borderline of fatality, because yes, you don't want to make excuses. Yes, you don't want, you think that they don't mean any harm unto you. But JOSIAH, sometimes they mean harm. They mean harm unto you. It's in that situation. What does one partner do? Okay, I guess before you even go into the union, so let's just assume that people are already in this situation already. How can what can you teach people to look out for and to shy away from danger? Because they be more dangerous.
All right. So this goes beyond a difficult partner.
A demonic.
All right. So
I was
all right. So from where we started the discussion, I was talking about a difficult partner, and I defined one as somebody that I don't understand.
Yes.
What the person is doing, I don't understand.
Yes.
And it is so weird to me. Now, when I see that, I make these 3 assumptions because the person is difficult, simply because I don't understand him or her, simply because the person is doing what I think shouldn't be the norm. So there's a root. And most of the time, the root, once we're able to grasp it, we see that the problem is solved. But when we are unable to know the root, that is where the problem is. We don't know the root. I don't know what is causing this, but the person is not acting normal. But, well, who knows? Maybe I am the one who is not normal. Just maybe. So I may be wrong. And then the third one, the person means no harm. But, I mean, put this aside, there are times the person indeed means harm. Now, this is where you should be very clear in your mind that, hey, as for this one, it is not about me assuming that I may be wrong. I know I am right.
Yes.
Now, when you know you are right and you are trying to communicate to this person and you are not getting that response, then what it means is that the person indeed means harm. Now, earlier, before coming here, I was in another, I'm holding a 1-week master class for singles. And then I was discussing, in this evening's discussion, I was talking about how I can become the better, the right partner before I go looking for the right partner. And then I talked about, somebody asked a question about, when the other person is doing something wrong and you communicate it. Because I was talking about emotional intelligence. And you communicate it and the person is not responding the way he or she should. What should you do? So I said, see, normally when you try attacking a person in addressing an issue, the natural response is that the person will defend himself. So the person is doing something, you think it is wrong, and then you tell him, and you are doing the person will defend himself. That's a natural response. So when you use aggressive communication, the person will defend himself. And then, it becomes more annoying that the person is doing something that you think is wrong, and yet he or she is defending himself or herself. However, when you can also, because the person asks, can I decide not to talk? Can I be passive? And then my question is that passive communication will not solve the problem. Unless you tell me you are not going to continue being with the person. So long as you continue to be with the person, you need to deal with the issue. So being passive doesn't solve. But it is rather important that you address the issue. But how do you address it? And then I gave the scenario of tell the person how you feel and let the person know exactly what you prefer him or her to do. So, for example, this is my partner who talks late into the night to other people, or people of the opposite sex, and I'm not comfortable with it. And then I tell him, hello, Kobe. I know very well that you have a lot of friends and all that, but I am not comfortable when you are talking to other ladies after 10 p.m. I wish that you limit those calls, or if possible, put a stop to calls to them, because I feel jealous when I see you talking to ladies beyond 10 p.m. This is me telling my partner how I feel about something he does and going ahead to tell what I would prefer him to do. I am not attacking him. I'm only telling him that I don't feel okay with this. And then the question came, what if I talk this way and the person continues to do that? And then I said, if you talk this way and the person continues to do that, then he knows what he is doing and he is intentionally doing it. Because after telling you how I feel, you should be considerate enough to either help me to understand that you can't stop, you need to do it because it has a benefit. Then I will understand you, I will not feel jealous again. Or you should be considerate enough to stop in order to make me happy. If you don't do these two things, one of these two things, then you know what you are doing. You do not love me, you do not want my happiness. In fact, you do not want the relationship. That one, you can't say the person is being difficult. The person is intentionally hurting you. He means harm. So this is just an example of when the person really means harm. And this is where in a relationship, you should begin identifying that no. What I'm putting my head into, it is going to harm me. I should opt out when I haven't committed to that relationship. But when I have already committed to the relationship and the person is communicating something that shows that he means harm, then I need to act immediately.
That's a partner view. No matter how much you tell them exactly how you feel, no, they're not responsive. They actually shut down. And in this case, what does the partner do? What is the next option? then no bet me aye. Oh, can't show partner said the uye. I could see mempe, kojo mempe. Yeah, mempe. Nese. It's like almost like a bit more. They get energy from you suffering. How does what is one to do?
All right. Okay. So the moment you find yourself in it, I think it is a form of abuse.
Abuse.
Seriously,
yes.
it is abuse when you are hurting someone's son, someone's daughter, and it is not like the person is not telling you. The person is telling you, you are stepping on my foot, and I am telling you, and you don't listen to me. Then, I mean, what exactly am I doing with you? You are killing me, literally. What am I doing with you? And so I honestly will not advise anybody to stay in a relationship in which your voice is not heard, your feelings are not heard. I will not advise that to stay in that kind of relationship. Now, where it becomes a challenge is when that relationship is marriage. You are married, and you know that because of the covenant of marriage, you do not want to walk out. So you should focus on solving the problem, because so long as that problem is not solved, you can't be happy in the marriage. But if that problem becomes a matter of abuse, if the thing is such that it is killing you, it is marriage, yes, but don't go and die in the name of marriage. However, there are certain things that you don't like it, you are not comfortable with it, but it is not, in quotes, it's not killing you. All right. I mean, you are married to ADJEIWAA. Like the person doesn't like that. It is not killing you. All right. You are just uncomfortable with the person's ADJEIWAA nature. You don't like it and all that. But this is what you have married. And so at this point, you have three things that you can do. I will not recommend two. I'll recommend the third one. One of them is to tolerate the person. Tolerate the person. All right. Another is to compromise. All right. Now, when I talk about tolerate, it's like this. You are not comfortable with it, but you should suffer it and hope that it will end. That's tolerance. Okay. The second, so I will not recommend that, because in actual fact, when you tolerate, it can lead to frustration, because you are hoping that it ends, but it doesn't. Number two is compromising. Like, okay, you don't like bathing, you know what, let's compromise. You maybe instead of not bathing for a week, can we compromise and do it, like 3 times a week, or whatever, compromising. Or you know what, I will stay in a different room so that you stay in a different room. These are compromises. They don't help you to connect better, because you are only compromising. You are relaxing on some of your values and principles. That is what compromising is. It is not recommended, because you are not being the authentic you. The third one is the most difficult, but that is what I recommend for instances where the attitude or the actions of the other person is not abuse, but you are not comfortable with it. That is acceptance. Now, it's difficult to accept that the man or the woman I am married to does not like bathing. Okay, I'm using that just as an example. There can be several other examples. So acceptance actually is like this. It is you telling yourself that I am married to Kojo, I'm married to Amma, and Amma is like this. I am not hoping for a change. I am not going to change my stance. I still don't like it, but I know that that is who the person is. Now, this is you telling yourself that this is what you have and you are going to live with it. Just by virtue of accepting the person for who he is or for who she is, what it does to you is that it makes you relax. Like the initial story I told you, the lady now got to know that her husband has a childhood experience that makes him not to like it when it seems like you are dictating what he should eat. You want to surprise him with his favorite meal, talk to him first. What would you like to eat? I have fufu, I have wacha, I have jollof. Which are you taking? He will take the fufu, and then you end up doing that. So you tell yourself that so long as this marriage is concerned, no surprises. You accept the person for who he is, and you are good to go. It doesn't hurt you anymore because you've come to accept. And that is where we should move towards. But when it is abuse and it is killing you, don't die in the name of a marriage commitment.
This is compromising, you know, but sometimes, you know, our review, no matter what, you are wrong. They shift the blame all the time to you. And also you have, because that's still a form of abuse. There's only so much that you can take, you know. But now we have our dear doctors, JOSIAH ANDOR, a marriage counselor located in Ghana, said, you know, aside from having the opportunity to discuss with him and their platform, you know, please, in the number, any information now will be in the chat room. So if you need a one-to-one counseling, marriage counseling, therapy, whatever it is, he's licensed in it. He holds a doctorate degree in these areas. Culture pet say, some actually will be fear of it leaking. But you know what? Dr. JOSIAH, we're going to bombard him with so many questions. Obi say, how long can you or should you compromise? How long? Many years. What endure all these pain? Is there a limit? I know you mentioned abuse, but is there a limit? When is enough enough?
All right. So, like I said, compromising, I would not recommend compromising. If you decide to compromise, then you're actually deciding to not to be yourself, because you are shifting and the other person will shift. And that is why, so how long should you compromise? Don't compromise at all for even a day. But how long should you accept? Acceptance is actually for a lifetime. And if it is acceptance, the at the end of the question will not come, because you've come to accept the person. Say na or full stop. You are done.
Wow. Therefore, let's take some questions on the platform. Nana Kuma has raised their hands. We're going to open the platform. We're going to keep it open. Mr. If you have your hands up, I'm going to call you, and then you can go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead, Nana Mipacho. Hina Ofre Ifri, and
Hello.
also.
Mipacho, good evening.
Good evening.
Pastor Pacho, good evening.
Good evening, Nana.
Mipacho, me Fefi, Virginia.
Nana.
My question in the say, me who ye example. Senya Pastor come from the beginning, no. Obi ohwa ne past experience binti affected Senya and then otie. And some of my experience ninti no, ama and then no, menam din ase I had to say ankonam. Me who be a hello hi. No me trim na me call me baby. But ama mate comments be ankrofo make say nipa we or ne ho on nipa or to say I am tia na me ya. Because I na me feel say send your more can no enya sa na me tie. But ebia ne nipa bia ye ene ne makom enti no amen no ase me sure nipa. Now my example be say obi awarie no can say osua ne nyinaa no ase na ne nuanom ɛyɛ adeɛ wɔ school kyɛn no nti ɔbɛware yɛ na sɛ ne yere pɛ nɔkye no nti ɛno nti no ɔmpɛ sɛ ne yere koraa bɛkɔ school me call a similar awareɛ mu saa nipa no minni nkrataa no ɔyɛ okay minya nkrataa a meyɛɛ sɛ mepɛ sɛ mekɔ school no na ɔsɔreyɛ ɔmpene ma menkɔ school no because ɔkaa no verbatim sɛ ɔmpɛ sɛ mɛba abɛkye no anaasɛ mɛba abɛboro ɔno ne so meyɛ adwuma boa sika sɛ o mebɛkɔ school pɛ na wakɔ account mu akɔyi sika no nyinaa yɛ no basaa mete awareɛ mu na mewu ɛduu baabi na ɔsɛ mefa me ho adwene na metwe me ho enti meme saa na ɛndɛ no nipa hu me sɛ mempɛ nipa mete sei no ɛdeɛn ɛna mɛyɛ because mekume mu paa deɛ menim sɛ medɔ nipa but akɔyɛ sɛ misuro sɛ me open up a ebi obi foforɔ ba a ɔno so ba bɛha me saa nti meme saa na makɔ tebea bi mu saa no deɛn na mɛyɛ afa ho.
Okay. I think.
Thank you for the question. Yes.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your experience specifically. I think there is even more, and we may need to spend more time on this. But what Bisan Wahantino, let me try some answers. You have allowed that experience to redefine you. So what allow experience be to redefine you are no say you are not the Nana Kuma that you are. You are a different person. And you don't feel until you be a penny pa. But as a Sisian bibinti wakashe, like you become a reserved person, even though in actual fact you are not that reserved kind of person. So what it means is that it is still there. You are still hurting. And that is why you want to be cautious. So, I mean, let me give you a physical scenario. If you hurt yourself physically, like maybe you want a crab and a crone on is because obi chia win some mia win and a crab and it is still painful. The next time you are shaking hands with somebody, you don't even want to shake hands because that's yeah. But if gradually a healer, you are likely to forget grass will be shaking inside. You keep on shaking hands. Except say you be careful, but it will not be with the emotions of Edasuya. And that is what is happening with you emotionally. Whatever has happened is still hurting, and so it is making you to become a different kind of person, and that is quite dangerous for you. Dangerous in the sense that you will not be able to live the full you, because the full you, as a person, would like to, to relate with people, to make friends, to do that. But what then will be different. And my counsel will be that you should try and find a way of dealing with that hurt. How do we deal with the hurts? Let me suggest, at least for the sake of this session, because but I will suggest let's probably talk after this session and go deeper, because there are certain deeper things. But generally speaking, Mamenka said you should tell yourself, say you've been hurt. And there is nothing wrong with you being hurt. There's nothing wrong with you crying over the hurt. Don't play hard girl. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. You don't benefit from being a hard girl, but you benefit from being vulnerable to yourself. Cry it out, and step out. And redefine yourself. Now, your redefinition of yourself should not be based on the other person. And that can only be done if you learn to practice forgiveness. Now, forgiveness does not mean say corner the way now and tear and all that. No, it is you setting yourself free. Normally, when you don't forgive, you are still and as who will be crying, now ya the fufro. Now or ya no that's so you should learn to forgive the person. Because when you are no longer bitter, the act no longer has an effect on you. Now I redefine it, like you redefine yourself and become you, the normal you now open the panel. Be that person. And remember, say, yes, it is Mr. Kojo or Mr. Christina who hurt you. It is not Benjamin. Benjamin may be different. However, you should pick the lessons that you learned from that. By all means, lessons, you pick them. So I've mentioned a number of suggestions. But the core of it, they say, you should deal with the head. Deal with the head by acknowledging the pain, going through the grieving process, go ahead and cry it out, go ahead and be sad about it. But when you are done, pick yourself up, forgive the person, and move on with your life. Redefine yourself, and you are likely to be strong enough to be the real person that you are. I hope that this helps you. But if it doesn't, let's talk later and get it dealt with.
For sure. Nana, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. And again, Dr. Josiah is, at your service. Reach out to him. See if it's me the Dr. Josiah number ato the group chat in one. And also, let me remind you, say, here on Tap Tap Send HRA TV, we do have a platform on WhatsApp. So if you are not a member of our family on the platform, I will ask the producers to also put that link in the chat. But let's take more questions. Let's take some more questions. Nana Kuma said she really appreciated it. Nana, it's worth it. So say, one thing I'm starting to realize here in abroad, and they say we are breaking that wall when it comes to counseling and therapy. It's so important to find obia or neutral person unim no or no sunim wo so kaneno ne so who suffer ne suffer kasa and also so boa. However, just like we have Dr. Josiah here, Onimobia, but we built the relationship as we go. He's not judgmental. He's open to hear your story and give you an insight as to why some of these things are happening in our lives. Just like we were discussing in the beginning, we are easily triggered. So you name the root cause of this trigger. Because you know, to talk about the traumas we've endured from childhood, from past relationships, into so only a professional tenacia. It helps on so many levels. Again, so be wahana or questioner, please feel free, raise your hands. We'll open the mic, introduce yourself, and then we'll take the questions as they come. And before we started the program, Nonso Sono will continue to ask the question of the day that, if you were, or if you had if your love story was an African dish, jollof being spicy but so delicious, fufu being, difficult and everything, but sticking together, fufu and soup, whatever soup. Obi say Uncle Jimmy mentions of konkonte. The love story is konkonte. Face the wall, lapewa. That's Uncle Jimmy's choice of his love story as in relation to the food. I'm not sure who asked this question. Won't making excuses condone to his or her behavior even more? I guess it was relating to some kind of
I think the person was asking about when I said you should assume that there's a root cause. Now, assuming there's a root cause is one thing, and America said when you assume that there's a root cause, try to make up an excuse for a possible root cause. All right. So your man or your woman is behaving difficult. Tell yourself, say, wait there, if you free, but you don't know baby if. So you make up an excuse, say, maybe the person came from this, or maybe the person came from that, or maybe the person came from that. Then you can now investigate. You are not telling the person that I think this is why you are doing this. No, that's not what you are doing. All this is happening in your mind. So you are telling yourself that, considering the current situation or considering what this person is doing, there is a root cause. I mean, this is a man who doesn't lay bed. And it is annoying. You are finding it difficult to live with this person who doesn't lay bed. He will leave things on, just like that. But there's a root cause. And now, in a number of these instances, you go in and you realize that growing up, the person was not even having a bed. The person grew up in a home where the bedroom is for mommy and daddy. The rest of us will pick a mat or a mattress, come and sleep in the living room. And then early in the morning, we wake up, we fold our mat and go and put it under the bed in mommy and daddy's room. By the time we get there, their bed is laid. So the person grew up not knowing how to lay bed. And the person is so used to sleeping, waking up, and walking away. And this is the one you are married to. That is an excuse I have made up for this person.
Yes.
Once you come to understand that, it's possible that is the reason, it makes it easier to deal with the person without, feeling like the person is being difficult. So that's what I mean. You are not condoning the behavior. No, you are helping yourself to work towards understanding the person. That's all.
I'm not sure if this is a question or a statement. Mr. Amos up here said, admitting the problem and not being defensive. Sometimes it's difficult because they have to be right all the time. So their defense mechanism, and that again goes back to the trauma, how they deal with things and, and so forth. So.
Yeah, I think rather he wrote that at the point when I don't know what's going on in his head, but there are two things that he could be talking about, either when I'm addressing a problem or when I have been through an abuse or a hurt and I'm dealing with it. I thought that was when he wrote that I should be able to admit the problem and not try to be defensive with myself.
But how does one admit a problem when they don't see a problem?
Of course, once you don't see a problem, you don't admit it. There's no way you can admit it.
Right.
So this happens. So in the case of where the two people are disagreeing on an issue, all right, maybe the whatever fight it is, you think A, I think B. Now let's talk. And the two of us are discussing it. To begin with, the problem is the fact that we don't see it in the same, ideally we should be moving in the same direction every time. Unfortunately, it cannot happen. No two people can move in the same direction every time. So there is a problem. We have two views. So knowing that we have two views alone is admitting that there is a problem. Once we admit that, then we can keep in mind that, okay, now you think that I am wrong and you are right, and I think that I am right and you are wrong. Let's talk. Maybe I am right, maybe you are right, maybe I am wrong and maybe you are wrong. So let's talk. That is being open-minded. But this can happen only if the two people are ready to make things work. In some instances, one person knows that I don't want things to work. And that is where we have a problem.
Yeah.
But where the two people want to make it work, the moment we identify that there is a problem, we are going to focus on solving it together. Always it should be together. But in tonight's discussion, we are talking about the other person being difficult.
Yes.
So the focus is on the one, you who is listening to me. How do you handle it when your partner who is being difficult is not here to listen to me? And that's why I gave you 3 assumptions. Know that there is a root, know that you may be wrong, and know that the other person does not mean any harm. Keep this in mind and then approach the discussion from there.
Sometimes the other person means harm. But anyways, Arizona, iPhone Arizona said, Doc, what about having a spouse who does not see cleanliness as a priority? How do you handle that? I think in the beginning of my example, really,
yes. So this spouse is very dirty, and I am very neat. Maybe I'm even having OCD. That will be very difficult because the person thinks that it's okay, there's nothing wrong, and then you think that no, there's something okay. We can begin from trying to help the person to understand the importance of cleanliness from your perspective. But maybe after trying several times, the person is still the way he is. There is a cause, there's a root, it's coming from somewhere. Where is it coming from? How many times so let me say this. How many times did the person's parents change diaper when he was young or when she was young? The person was probably wearing the same diaper the whole day. What the parent was teaching the person is what you are seeing today. The person will become stingy in terms of even, money. The person is able to hold, himself and all that, and the person can live in debt. The person, while while a baby. And the person has grown with it. So almost every time there is a root.
Of course, yeah.
Now, when you identify that root of lack of cleanliness, then we can focus on seeing if we can fix the root using therapy.
Yeah. Wonderful. Franklina. Oh, I'm an answer. So Franklina, if you can just unmute and then no bisa or question the patro bodine baby offer if free.
Franklina from Worcester. I know so name me.
Welcome.
I'm just saying thank you for everything, Dr. Andor, especially. I've been working with him for a year now. And he's taught me a lot.
Nice.
I want to use this platform to encourage anyone having any issues. Always feel free to reach out to him. He's very patient, doesn't judge. And so far I've been referring a lot of people in there.
Yeah, they've been coming. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wow. That's a testimony right there. Our dear sister Franklina right here in Worcester. Thank you so much, Sister Franklina.
You're welcome.
But also be a question, yeah, feel free. Our real be there. So sometimes it's just something minor. Not that we just say, how do people go from I mean Ubesha or the for the effect kama. Dana. What happens in between the lover you had becomes an enemy? All of a sudden, no, they become difficult. So what are some of the, and you may was say, if you are Hanuma, I feel that they're about to embark on this so-called marriage and union and unity. What are some of the signs we need to look out for? What should we do so that we don't fall into this trap?
Okay, Oba, all right, so let me say this. There is no way that two different people will be together. They love each other. They are being true to themselves. There is no way that these two people will not have a problem. There's no way. You will have a problem. And when I say this, I don't exempt myself. Once I was counseling a couple, and the person was like, we are struggling. And then I said, okay, you know something? My own struggle started after. That's why I mentioned how long it took before my own challenge started in my marriage. And then he's like, wait a minute, you also had a challenge in your marriage? And then I said, yes. And he said, well, no, so that was what did the magic for this person. That, oh, okay, then let me sit up and then try to see how we can talk about this. Then we talked about it. What I'm trying to tell you is that if you are not married to yourself, there will be conflict. In fact, even if you are married to yourself, sometimes you are not sure whether you should eat fufu or jollof. And I'm thinking, I mean, today I'm going to use fufu and jollof for all my example. All right. But there are times you yourself, you have intrapersonal conflict. How much more somebody else? The person has different ideas, different feelings. And so the two of you cannot think the same way all the time. The two of you cannot feel the same way all the time. There will be a difference. And when there's a difference and you don't handle it well, there is conflict. And when there is conflict and the conflict is not really resolved, that is where you are likely to do something that would go and trigger something very sensitive in the person. And the person will write you off, or the person would bring out the beast in him or the beast in her, and then there's trouble. So that is what happens. So in marriage, we need to understand that I am married to somebody who is from a different background. The person has a different parentage. The person grew up in a different city. The person has different experiences, and the person's way of thinking is different from my own. Therefore, we are going to face differences. When we go into it with this mindset, if you are not yet married, get to know that when you are getting into it, there will be some form of conflict. Then we should be able to resolve it, because we are supposed to think alike. But when there are differences, then let's talk about it. Let's sit down, let's talk, and then let's come up with something that will benefit the union.
Thank you, Dr. Josiah. Another question says, some people are not teachable or even flexible enough to learn. It makes it extremely impossible to even have a normal conversation. What do you do when they're unwilling to open up about the root cause of their trauma? Because in the end, you're hurting and gradually losing yourself.
Well, maybe they don't even know. And the truth of the matter is that most people don't even know the root cause of their own trouble. And that is why I said you should make excuses for them. I mean, in your head, make excuses for them and then you investigate. But the other part of the question that I think I want to mention is that when you say the person is not teachable, what it means is that you are right and the person is wrong and you are teaching the person. and that assumption alone can even make me, not me as in me, but the person resist. You should go into the discussion with, okay, the person doesn't seem to open up to you. Yeah, that one I will get you. But if it's about being teachable, then it's like the person is wrong and I want to teach the person. But maybe the person is not wrong. And so that is what we should do. And then I think the questioner also said, what should you do when the person is not opening up? Yeah, if the person is not opening up, you should make assumptions for them and try to figure it out yourself. But in most cases, the person may not even know. But when you try therapy, I mean, the therapist is able to ask questions that will bring out certain experiences that may be hidden in the subconscious.
Yes. All right, let's go. Christopher has his hands up. Christopher, kindly unmute. If I show it to me, a bizarre question, no, and then state where you're calling from, Mr. Christopher. Hello. All right. While we wait for Mr. Christopher to unmute and ask his question, there was another question in the chat room that said something about, there's some I can't really make out. From iPhone from Arizona says some will be divorced before counseling or counseling before divorce because the hurt about some words does not cut it. I'm not sure. I'm trying to make sense. Trying to figure that statement out. Sunqua, I think, says, if a person is naturally obtuse, how do you handle it as a partner? If the person is normally contrary to the social norm, but they're convinced in their own ways.
All right. So in this case, society is a judge. But like I said, there is a cause, there's a reason. There are certain things that, when we were defining who a difficult person is, we talked about people who do things that are different from what everybody knows or what everybody, does. Then the person is being difficult. But let's ask ourselves, why is a person different from what everybody knows or what everybody does? And what is that particular thing that the person is, is being up to? Like, what is that thing? And in which society are we talking about? So that if I am dealing with somebody who spent all their lives in America and the person comes to Ghana, there are certain things that the person would do that are not normal in Ghana. So do I say the person is difficult? Not necessarily. The person will actually be convinced in their own way, but it is actually contrary to the social norm. So it's, for me, understanding the person will stem from getting to know that this person is from this background. This person grew up in America. This person grew up in this type of home. The person grew up in a village, and that is why he or she is behaving that way. So still, we need to probe and get to know why this person is doing something contrary to the social norm, and still convinced about it. I mean, convinced in himself. Once we do that investigation, we may get some leads to some answers. If we don't get some leads to some answers, it doesn't mean there's no answer. There's definitely an answer. And if we are able to prove further, we are likely to get it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Doc. Christopher, I think you are unmuted. Pachobe to me, Abusa, or question, no, right now, please. Pachobe, yeah. Free, your name and where you're talking from, please.
Yeah, my name is Christopher.
That's what free here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Pachobe free.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I'm calling from Idaho, USA. Thank you very much, Doc, for the presentation, and thank you, Opa, for please, Doc, I just want to know, in terms of your session, how do we register if one wants to get one-on-one in-depth session with you concerning?
Okay, you can, okay, so let me at this point put out, I'm just putting something in the chat, my social media and phone number. So Facebook, YouTube, IG, X, I'm in all those places, and phone number. Just get me on the phone. The phone number is on WhatsApp, and I think we can schedule from there.
Yes.
The website that you can schedule a session on is currently down. So, but you can just get directly to me via any of these.
Okay,
thank you,
Doc. Thank you. Sorry, I just have a follow-up. It is about transnational, let me call it transnational marriages, say a Nigerian and a Ghanaian. And, just like you pointed out in terms of the cultural differences, and we also see some of these societal disagreements. We're seeing even xenophobia now across Africa, and those things are creating effects across marriages and relationships because of the differences that people are now perceiving, and what the internet is also doing based on what is happening in society. What do you advise in terms of limiting the effect of those things on marriages between couples who are from two different countries with two different cultures?
All right, thank you. When you said Ghana and Nigeria, what came to me was jollof, Ghana jollof, being nicer than Nigeria jollof. But that was just by the way. You know, in actual fact, when it comes to so assuming I am getting married to a Nigerian, it will do me good to learn the culture of Nigeria. And for me, that is it. Assuming I am getting married to a Togolese, it will do me good to learn the culture of Togo or of the particular, tribe or the particular ethnic group that the person comes from. That is important. The reason is this. It will help you to understand certain things. I was counseling a couple, and these two people had planned their marriage. They had set a date and all that. And then in the second session or third session, the lady tells me that the guy hasn't proposed. And I'm like, wait a minute. The guy hasn't proposed, and so why are we here? Because we're actually doing premarital counseling. They have set a date for their wedding. So we're just preparing for it. And then the guy was surprised. Now, why was he surprised? This guy is a Ghanaian, and he's marrying a lady whose father is a Ghanaian, but the mother is from, I think, another place. But the father actually met the mother in the States, and they gave birth to her in the States. She grew up in the States. So she's waiting for a proposal with a ring on bended knee. That hasn't happened. And this is a Ghanaian guy who knows that once I tell you I love you and you say you love me too, we are good. And they're already preparing for marriage. But she says he has to propose. So I learned, during that session, I hadn't learned much about these cultural things. I learned something very rich that day. And that is exactly what we should be doing. If you are going into marriage with somebody whose culture is different from yours, you need to get yourself abreast. And it will reduce the tension. Because without that, it becomes difficult to really understand the person, and you end up saying that, oh, this guy is so difficult, or this lady is so difficult.
Let's take this big scenario over here, Doc. I'm not sure if this is a question or so Leona has their hands raised. Let's take Leona's question. Leona, you can unmute and ask your question, please, and state your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, I'm from, I'm Leona. Hold on a second. Bad timing. I'm Leona. I'm calling from the U.S.
Hi, Leona.
And I guess my question is, why do some people make culture such a big deal? The reason why I asked that question is because I was raised in the United States, but I'm originally of Haitian descent. So I was born in Haiti. Haiti is kind of like similar to Africa in a way. And the fact that culture is a big deal, but because we were raised in the United States, and with the United States, everything's basically free and welcome. If you like somebody, you just basically make it work. But you guys don't have to be of the same culture, of the same religion. Don't even have to be from the same group of people. So we just believe in everybody's trying to live like a happy life, and the goal is to be happy, not as much as get it complicated as far as culture, because culture will have you living at least in my opinion, a restricted life. Like when he was here, or he had a couple that had a issue in regards to the female wanted a proposal and the guy wasn't aware of the need for a proposal. To me, it's human nature that, because in my 20s, I was talking to a guy and the guy never asked me to be his girlfriend. He was like, we just boyfriend and girlfriend. And I asked him, when did you ask me? Because I feel like
Leona, I think we can't hear you. We've lost you. I think where you're standing, your network, we can't hear you anymore. All right.
my girlfriend, you don't have a girlfriend because you never asked. You just assume. So I guess it was the same thing with the young lady wanting the proposal, because for her, if she's going to get married, you got to ask her. Granted, I get it, in some cultures, you got to ask the parents as well, because I think in my culture, that's how it is too. But because I was raised in the United States, we don't do none of that. Like, honestly, my brother just got married and there was no asking of the parents. So I think it's ultimately we overcomplicate things as human beings. And I don't know if it's our how we were brought up that makes us to overcomplicate things, where some people see it so simple and other people make such a big deal.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Luna, for the thoughts that we've shared. I think you've really, really emphasized the issue of the cultural awareness, and we should always be aware. Gone are the days when people were marrying only from their village. Today, we have a lot of people marrying outside their geographical location, outside their culture, and we will not enjoy the marriages if we don't strive to understand the culture of the other person. So thank you so much for sharing your experience and then the thoughts that you shared. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Leona. There's a huge question here, but I guess I will sum it up since time is really not on our side. Should the wife stay and give it a last try? I guess the husband was brought to the U.S. by the wife. She helped bring her stepdaughter, like his kids, to America. Finally, she helped bring the husband's cousin and 2 kids. The wife also helped the husband to attend nursing school, but the wife, behind the wife, the husband has built a house in Ghana without telling the wife, and many more issues. The wife asked the stepdaughter to do a marriage to bring someone from her family into the country before she leaves their house. She is now a citizen, but her husband would not support the idea. Now the wife decided to move out of the house and leave the marriage because she is on the losing side of the whole marriage. She has discussed several times with the husband to settle this matter amicably, but to no avail. Now the guy is appealing to her to come back home through some renowned pastor. Should she give him another chance to rebalance things? Why or why not? I guess this is the question.
What exactly are the pastors saying? Are they just asking that she comes back, or they are ready to deal with the issue? The truth is that if she's coming back to give it a try, marriage is actually like a lifelong commitment, not a trial. If she's coming back to give it a trial, then she should be sure that the reason for which she left is no longer valid. I mean, in other words, if the man is being selfish, for which reason she decided to leave, has the selfishness been dealt with? Has the issue been dealt with? I see so many issues in this, that this woman is feeling frustrated, and she feels like the man is just thinking about only himself and his family. In one breath, I will say that, does it matter? as in, if I ask, does it matter? It's more like, okay, is there anything about my family and your family? Is there anything like that? If there is, or if there is that kind of understanding between them, why is it that for all these years, it is now that the issue of her family is coming up? What has been happening? You know, so that is where the discussion should be. I mean, for me, she should focus not on the effects. I mean, what we are seeing are the effects, but where's the root? The root is a matter of selfishness on the part of the husband. Can we deal with that? Can the men of God who are asking him her to come back, can they sit the man down and let him know that he's behaved selfishly and that he's in the wrong, and can they start working towards righting the wrongs? Can he own up to his mistakes so that we can pick it up from there? If that's the case, then sure, why not? They should give it a try and commit to a marriage that has all the principles set out.
There was one question before Gifty comes up. There's a question that someone is asking, but I didn't get the full question. Something about 2 years without intimacy. So I'm alluding to the fact that maybe is that a cause for separation? It says, 2 years without intimacy. I did not quite get the whole question.
Okay, so if by law in most parts of the world,
law, but Dr. Josiah, law.
Yes.
When it comes to intimacy.
By law, if a couple should go for 2 years without sharing or without intimacy, they can be legally divorced.
Okay.
Legally.
Okay.
Yeah. But then we need to know what is happening in this marriage, for which reason for 2 years there was no intimacy. I mean, this is the point. I am married to you and we are living in the same house. Let's even assume that we are not sleeping in the same room, but we are living in the same house and we are married. And then for 2 years, there is no intimacy. And it is not like one of us is sick. Then there's a problem. There is a problem. Now, the problem is not the intimacy. The problem is that we have lost emotional connection. That is the only reason I will be with my wife and I will not want to sleep with her. That's the only reason I will not feel for my husband for 2 years. So that marriage is actually, somebody says 2 years, not even 2 days. All right, that's fine. So, I mean, the point is that there's a reason why people will live together for 2 years. I mean, the average for marriages is like marriages of when we put the old men and old women and add them, the average is 57 times a year.
Wow.
That is more like about once a week, a little over once a week. But, when we pick younger marriages, the average is between 2 to 3 times a week. So if I am with my wife, I'm with my husband, and for 2 months, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, we've done 6 months. It's not like one is sick. Then there's a problem. There is a problem that needs to be resolved.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Dr. Josiah. Gifty Boadu, you can definitely unmute and ask your question. Please mention which state that you are calling from, please. Ms. Gifty. Can we give Gifty access to unmute, please? Again, if you want more one-on-one sessions with Dr. Josiah, who is a renowned marriage counselor, he's located in Ghana, you can definitely reach out to him. Counseling, therapy in any way. It's not even just about relationship, but that's his expertise there. But if you need someone to just really talk to, about your personal issues, definitely feel free. His contact has been posted or shared in the chat. All right, it's Maureen. Is it Gifty? Gifty, are you able to talk now? All right, we'll come back to Gifty. You feel free to also post your questions in the chat. And for your time spent and dedication, God bless you. Okay, you are very welcome, Samsung. There's no name, but we want to say thank you. It's about 15 minutes to 8. We're gonna have to do a part 2, Dr. Josiah, because you just be giving us some gems and lifting our spirits and renewing in us that marriage is not a fail. That there's some steps to be at, and say we are missing when we, especially, sometimes when you get into the union and things start crumbling after 5 years, you start wondering, stranger ben, I'm worrying, it's just, there's a miscommunication, but we are not seeing it because it's not our culture to talk about, you're so worried, I'm worrying, don't go outside and talk about your issues. But now we're learning to undo the cultural norms, right? We're learning to go outside the culture and really talk to somebody like you about, thank you so much. You've saved so many marriages, so many relationships. And I wish more and more people can. It's never too late, Anna. It's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Won't worry for 5 years or 1 year or 10 years or 20 years old. It's never too late. I am, a realtor here in Massachusetts. I'm licensed in Rhode Island and Massachusetts as well. And I'm also a financial professional where I help people with, life insurance policies. So if anybody has any questions, the reason why I'm advertising this is because who will be already 70, they've been married for 50 years, 40 years, then they want to sell their house because they're done. They don't want to be married anymore. It breaks my heart as a realtor. It's very disheartening. Hey, I'm done. I'm tired. I don't want any part of it. Imagine being married for 40 years, 50 years. Now, I see these cases so many times. Yes, I do love it when they come to me to get their homes to sell. But it's also disheartening. Say, once upon a time, they were once in love. They were lovebirds. For Obikai in the chat room said, from lovebirds to enemies. So sad, so sad. But we have to do a part 2, Dr. Josiah. We have to do a part 2. I want to say thank you so much. This has been so insightful. Everyone is saying thank you so much for the topic. Please, what's your advice for married women without intimate? Hey, Dr. Josiah, before you sign off, we'll say, what is your advice for a married woman without intimate for 2 years and didn't share same bedrooms?
I think that was a question we addressed.
That was a question, right?
Yes. So yes, if you are married and for 2 years you don't have intimacy, and I think you need to go and start. I don't know why she's not doing that, and I don't know if the one asking the question is the man who is suffering and therefore is asking me to advise the woman, or it is the woman, the woman who is saying, okay, I haven't done this and I want to know. So if it is a woman who is asking and she wants to know, then what I'll tell her is that after 2 years, if you go and try, you are likely to hurt yourself. So get a lubricant, and then you try it. But I suspect that it's not coming from a man. It's coming from it's not coming from a woman. It's coming from a man who thinks that my woman needs to be talked to. So if that woman is here and she's listening to me,
Dr. Josiah, today I was saying, man, we are withholding.
No. This is the Manu. See, listen to the question. What's your advice to a married woman without intimacy for 2 years? That's the question. Yes. So if it is coming from the woman, then she's saying that she's not had it for 2 years.
Yes.
And she wants to go and start. So all I can tell her is that she should get lubricant, else she will get hurt. But then the question sounds like a man who wants to know what I should tell the woman who is not giving him the intimacy.
Yes.
So in that case, I'm telling the woman that, hey, woman, your man needs to have intimacy with you. On average, if you can do 2 to 3 times a week, that would be perfect.
You heard it. 2 to 3 times a week.
That's right.
If you must penetrate 2 times a day. Dr. Josiah, God bless you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in on HRE TV, A Time with Tap Tap Send. Before Dr. Josiah go, I will invite our director, Daniel, to give his last minute and also to really show his love and appreciation for Dr. Josiah for always coming through for HRE TV, Tap Tap Send. Then Dr. Daniel, are you available?
Yeah, Dr. Josiah, I think kwekwana sinyansa wamfani nyina nko wajebi amaye. It is a great one to hear such an immense information, advice and everything. We thank you very much. I mean, we don't take these things for granted. I mean, it's not easy. So people come in and pay for this knowledge, but you come on the show and give it to us for free. We thank you very much. And as OBAA said, I think there's a lot to be said. Yes. So we definitely will see you again and then advise us more so that we get a good relationship and everything. Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Thank you so much for hosting me. In fact, and OBAA, thank you. I missed you.
I missed you too. We'll connect again. You know,
all right,
we need to do a part 2 on this one because a lot of people are also reaching out saying that we need a part 2. We need a part 2. So we'll definitely continue the topic again. Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you too.
Yes.
Right. I believe there will be a session with Tap Tap Send.
Yes, we are going to continue our conversation. I'm sorry.
So people should not leave.
People should not leave. Yes.
Yeah, except me, who is almost at midnight.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Josiah ANDOR. God bless you. We'll continue the conversation, God willing, next week. We'll reach out again. Thank you. It's just a time with Tap Tap Send. This is where your questions regarding the Tap Tap Send app, how to send money, if you have any issues concerning the Tap Tap Send app, you're ready to answer all your questions. So please feel free, ask your questions again away. Yeah, Papa, yeah, Wafa, yeah, Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy is based out in Virginia. Uncle Jimmy is on the platform right now. I will leave it to him to open the dialogue up regarding Tap Tap Send. Any updates, any concerns, he will take over. Uncle Jimmy in the beginning said, if we were to compare his relationship to any African food, face the wall. Uncle Jimmy, over to you and explain yourself, please.